Hello and welcome to Half Hour to Health. I'm Dr. Dietrich. I have a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about thermography. First of all, what is thermography and why is it so good in prevention of cancer? Well, we're going to find out why it's used in Europe for the last 20 to 30 years. And why is the AMA opposed using thermography? Well, we'll find out about that because my guest on the show tonight is Nancy Gardner-Heaven. Now, Nancy is a CEO of a nonprofit organization that focuses on the prevention of cancer and cardiovascular disease. She also teaches at UC Berkeley and teaches preventive health care there. She has a tremendous amount of information for us. So if any of you women out there are interested in prevention and want to find out what else can be used except mammograms and other modalities for cancer, stay tuned and listen as Nancy and I discuss these in detail this evening. Nancy, welcome to the show. What a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
You have so much to offer. And now we hear this thermography. What is thermography?
Well, thermography is a detection device for early breast cancer. And it uses an infrared camera. What the infrared camera is detecting, it's looking at the heat of the body. So we're going to look at the veins. They're going to stand out from surrounding tissue. And in a healthy breast, they should be pretty symmetric.
Okay.
The technique using the infrared camera, the woman stands in a cool room. There's no compression of the breast. There's no radioactive material. There's no X-rays to harm the breast. There's no smashing of the breast tissue.
Great.
So it's a very non-invasive technique to let you know how the health of the breast is.
Okay. Now, accuracy. You know, we hear, people use mammograms, frequently today. And what about the accuracy of thermography? Where do we compare that, or do we compare that?
Yeah, well, thermography's accuracy rate, I would say, today is about 10% error rate, meaning probably favoring more in the side of finding things a little earlier than there is a tumor. We can see up to 10 years before a tumor when the veins are setting up, the arteries and veins, the vascularity is setting up to feed the beginning of a tumor. In mammography, there's more like a 40% error rate.
Wow.
And that means 40% of the women are either walking away thinking there's nothing wrong and it has missed finding a lump, or have 80% of the biopsies ordered because of something suspicious are benign fibroids. So I'd like to show you for a minute what that looks like.
Yeah,
what it is that we're
show the viewers exactly what we're talking about here this evening.
Well, this is an infrared image of a normal, healthy woman. And I say normal and healthy, but she does have fibroids, and here, because we're looking at heat, the fibroids are cold. They don't have a lot of vascularity to them, and you can see the darker area is cold or hypothermic.
Hypothermic, okay.
Now here she has a slightly swollen or slightly inflamed fibroid, and it's hot, but it's diffused. It's a diffused pattern versus the veins, and I always explain that the veins look like little lightning bolts in a night sky, and they should be pretty symmetric, the same amount on each side.
Okay.
So she has pretty healthy vascularity. She has a little swollen lymph node here, but you can see these patterns are very different than the veins. So, and I'm going to show you somebody with a very advanced stage of breast cancer, and I do this because it's very dramatic and you can see it very clearly. This woman has a very advanced stage of breast cancer, and what happened is the vascularity, the arteries are setting up to feed a tumor, and the veins drain off the toxins over here. Now, when we're doing taking the images with the infrared camera, I do a left, right, and frontal view of the woman's body, put their hands in cold water, and then do a second set of pictures. Now, if it's a swollen or inflamed fibroid, it'll contract down. Just like if you have a swollen ankle and you put ice on it, it's going to help the swelling. But cancer can't respond to those temperature changes.
Interesting.
So when we put her hands in cold water, the surrounding tissue contracted down, and that made the cancer stand out even more so, the second set of pictures. And then and through that technique, we can I guess you would call it grade the breast on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being perfectly healthy breast with absolutely no abnormal thermal features, and 2 being the first picture I showed you with some fibroids, but they're benign. And then 3 is the first sign of a hot spot, but it's still responding to temperature change.
Okay.
And then 4 and 5 are more advanced stages where the vascularity gets very complex. It's not responding to temperature change. And we can rate that on a scale of like 85 to 95% risk factor.
Interesting. What I want to talk about right now is thermography and mammograms. You know, you hear so much in this country, you should have a mammogram every year. A woman for over 40. Is that, am I correct? By over 40 years old, they should have a mammogram.
That's what the medical profession proclaims. And I frequently have clients coming in and asking me that. I would never tell a person not to do what their doctor says.
Totally understand. Sure.
But I'm finding a lot of women over 40 and in their 50s who have never had any form of detection because they've had an intuitive feeling that the radiology x-rays are causing the disease.
Exactly.
And there is a lot of research done. There's a Dr. John Goffman who was on the radiology board and at UC Berkeley did extensive research, and he confirmed that if you are to shoot radiation into the breast on a regular basis, that after, and he tells you how many rads per thermography, you will actually cause the disease. So for women who have predisposition that they're giving them 2 or 3 times a year,
it's a lot of radiation.
It is. It's a lot of unnecessary radiation. So my personal feeling is that we should use a technique that's less intrusive and use mammography as a wonderful backup tool when we need the support of something to go further, when we're seeing something suspicious and we need some backup.
Now let's talk a little bit about thermography as far as you're not getting the radiation by using thermography, okay?
You're the radiator.
You're the radiator.
Yeah,
you're
the heat that we're looking at, so it's just a detection device.
So then you can use, say, thermography at a very early age where mammograms are getting a lot of radiation, and that's why women are saying, wait a minute, I don't want a mammogram, but with this particular procedure, they can use this at an early age. And another question, what about the accuracy of thermography compared to mammograms?
Yeah, and the nice thing about thermography, when you're looking at a younger woman, when they're going to have firmer breasts, they haven't breastfed, so their breasts are firmer. Mammography has a hard time looking through dense tissue.
Okay.
And at best can only see a tumor once it's there. We can see these early signs of these veins setting up, or the arteries and veins setting up to feed a tumor, up to 10 years before there's a tumor. And what's causing that is too much estrogen. And this is from environmental pollutions, from taking synthetic hormone supplements for postmenopausal or birth control. So, and for those women, there are lots of things we can do if we start to see that this is forming an early sign of breast cancer. There's lots of things we can do nutritionally to boost their immune system, get their liver functioning better, and of course getting them off the supplements and getting them onto more natural, non-harmful forms of estrogen can be really beneficial for them.
Interesting. Let's talk about thermography in Europe. They seem to use thermography and all of these techniques, non-invasive techniques, they use them in Europe routinely all the time, and they get excellent results with these modalities.
Yes.
We seem to come to this country and they're opposing these particular modalities.
Well, we can get into.
What do you have to say about? I mean, we can get into a big debate here. I realize that.
It's politics, and they've invested a lot. They've invested a lot on a lot of levels. It's not just money, though. It is a billion-dollar industry. They're familiar with it. And they aren't familiar with thermography. I've been practicing here I'm in Marin County, and I've been practicing, I have a clinic there, for about 5 years. And just now, a lot of the doctors at UCSF and UC Berkeley are asking me, sending me clients who are sensitive to x-rays, can't do x-rays, have had a mastectomy, had their breast removed, and what are you going to take an image of? And for them, I can see the veins, if they start to, the arteries and veins,